Hey everybody, this is OK Day back with another video. This is not the usual Ballionaire infinite combo video. I'm afraid I may have to take a break from those for the next 10 days or so. And the reason for that is I am participating in a game jam. This is BigMode Games, which is video game donkey's game production company hosting this. Huh. Why is my screen capture so bad? I should fix this first before I do anything else. Because I don't want to capture part of the screen, I want to capture the whole screen. Okay. We're back, and I think I figured this out. Back to the story of what we're doing today. So, I am actually participating in a game jam. This is my first game jam ever, and just a little bit of background on myself. I have written a few really basic games. We're talking like Pong level, um, just as a way of learning how to write games. And the engine I've used is Godot, which is a very intuitive engine. I find using it is intuitive, but also building a mental model of how it works behind the scenes is pretty intuitive. So I'm going to use this for the game jam. The theme of this game jam is power. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. The theme is power. Interpret power in your own way using any definition of the word. Just be sure that it serves as the inspiration for your game in a significant way. So I thought about this in a lot of different ways. I thought about a few obvious ways to interpret this, like let's make a game that's a power grid simulator, and maybe there's some resource management going on, or you have to choose which structures get powered because you only have a finite amount of power, things like that. It seemed a little bit too on the nose. I like to I like the idea of twisting these prompts a little bit, um, or maybe being on the nose like this, but in an unconventional way. And I think power grid games are just a little bit too common. Not to disparage anyone else who makes such a game, but if you do make such a game, you sort of have to go above and beyond and make it really well. It's much easier to make an unusual game because the novelty will give it a lot of bonus points, which will make up for my lack of experience making games. That's sort of my thinking here. So I thought through that. I thought through the idea of political power. So maybe make some sort of kingdom simulator game where you are a king or you are the president of some country and you are basically using political power to get what you want. That sort of game is pretty fun and I think doable, but with only 10 days for this contest, I think the number of options that you could go through and the number of different scenarios you could build would be highly limited. I think that that's the sort of game where you need to have hundreds of different scenarios built in with lots of choices per scenario, and the choices need to ripple out in meaningful ways. And that's just way too much for me to do in 10 days. I will be impressed to see if someone else actually manages this. So let's see, what other versions of power did I think about? I thought of actually like a pun, like uh, what is a catcher? A catcher is someone who catches, right? What is a printer? A printer is an object that prints, and so I thought of power as maybe a character who pows stuff, like the pow block in Mario, or maybe like a big hammer or something like that. And I thought that could be kind of funny, but it's also sort of the pun can only take you so far, and beyond that, I don't really see this as power being an inspiration for the game in a way that the judges and other contestants would buy into. So I thought of various different things, and I really wanted to sort of have my own twist on this. And what I came up with was an idea of a a dark power generation game. And by dark, I mean like dark themes like death and pain and suffering and stuff like that. I don't know why this idea came to me, but as soon as I thought of the name of the game, everything else sort of started falling into place. So the name of the game is going to be Soylent Power, Soylent as in Soylent Green. And so this is a game where you generate power by killing your own citizens in creative ways. And the more power you generate, the more creative ways you can unlock to uh, spawn and kill more citizens. I'm sort of thinking gameplay will be somewhat like the Lemmings games from back in the day. If you don't know the Lemmings, then I'm sorry, I can't think of any other games that really play that way. At least not that I'm familiar with. So you'll just have to see in my gameplay what this is like. But anyway, moving on, I want to record as much of this process as possible and maybe edit it down to some videos I can upload on a daily basis just to keep the daily uploads going. I am not good at art. I'm also not good at programming. I'm also not good at game design. I'm also not good at game programming. So this is going to be quite the quest. But because I know I'm bad at these things, I can sort of lean into that. And so what I want to do first is just create some basic creatures that will inhabit this world. These will be our citizens, our poor, unsuspecting potential power sources. And I think simpler is better because I'm not any good at this. So I really should be using a sprite actually because I can actually have a hmm. I really don't like how Windows does this stuff. I don't want you to be a shortcut to the internet for me. I want you to tell me if I have it installed or not, and I can never tell. Yeah, screw you, Windows. Okay, I'm using Pixel or Piskel. I'll just have to keep in mind that this is a placeholder and maybe build in a way to add a color palette later into the game itself. But I want these creatures to be quite simple. So I'm thinking basic geometric shapes. And maybe later I will animate these, but for now, let's get a second color here as well. Let's just have the limbs sort of be like whatever. And maybe fill this in a bit. No, that's way too bright. Um, I really don't like this software that it doesn't allow you to keep a palette. Or does it? Oh, okay, maybe it does. I shouldn't speak so quickly in the future. I should make sure I know what I'm saying before I disparage something. Okay, so I may later animate the legs and the arms, but I think right now I might just sort of like wibble wobble. Okay, this only does 90 degrees, but in the game I might like wiggle the guy 5 degrees left and right and just sort of have him move that way. And then later on, if I have time near the end, I can animate. But this looks fine as a first uh, thing to just populate the game world with. What, as a sprite sheet? Sure. Okay, so that's one guy. Can I make a new guy with the same palette? Or maybe as a new frame? And just, I don't want to screw with that inside Godot though. What if we just sort of clear this out? So, where's the eraser? Okay. Just use a giant eraser and start over. Okay, so we had a circle shape. I'm sort of thinking let's just do basic shapes and sort of bright colors. I want the game to be dark, but I want the scenery and the creatures and everything to be bright. I want there to be this sort of dystopian, everyone thinks everything is going to be fine and is happy, but actually there's a dark undertone of, well, actually everyone is just working to quicken their own death sort of thing. So I want like a happy theme, at least a happy drawn theme. Um, we don't have any other good shapes here. Yeah, the software is really lacking. So let's just... Oh, and did I lose the palette too because of that? Ah, this really sucks. Okay, we're going to just do frames and then we'll cut the picture apart later. I just want to keep the palette, and this is super annoying how this works. Okay, let's go for, let's say, a triangle sort of shape. Sort of like a grimace from McDonald's or something. That was horrible. Do we have a line tool? We do. It doesn't have to be symmetrical either. I don't really care about that. Even the bottom is a bit too nice, actually, so maybe, whatever. It can be nice. And maybe yellow legs again. Yellow arms. Orange eyes. Orange mouth. This one's happy. And a green body. Okay, good enough. Let's add a new frame. We have a circle, we have a triangle. Let's get a rectangle type. I think the rectangle is going to be a bit too rigid, so we'll have to round it off ourselves. Actually, maybe we'll just draw it ourselves. There's the line tool. Can we maybe do just a long circle? Yeah, that kind of works. Okay, we'll do that. I don't really care if it's symmetric or not. It's probably better if it's not symmetric. And let's get back on the line tool. He's a happy fellow. Let's give him some yellow limbs as well. And boom. And let's fill them up with green, just like the others. I think we will have these all be different colors eventually, and maybe be able to vary the colors programmatically um, within reason, within some palette that I define, just for variety. Variety will be nice, but having a few shapes and a few different colors for each shape should add a lot of variety to the game. I can always add more later. I was thinking there would also be a a named character, like maybe back in the day in SimCity, you would play as the mayor of the town, right? Um, Although I don't know if we ever saw your picture in that game, but you were the mayor and you were making like zoning decisions, and then the city would grow depending on where you put the commercial, residential, and industrial. So I want to have a mayor character, and I was thinking since we have circles, triangles, and ovals, and maybe potentially other shapes, the mayor should be his own shape to differentiate him from everyone else. So I was thinking, let's make him a pentagon. And if we can, let's like give him a business suit or something. Wonder if that works if we erase that bit, that bit, that bit. Sort of redo this line. Yeah, that's fine. That's a decent pentagon. So I want to give him a business suit of some sort. I don't want it to look like necessarily a human business suit. Does that go across? No, it's a bit off. Hmm. I don't know why I'm treating this like it's a final draft. We can definitely fix this up later. Okay, sure, like that. But let's just give them something that looks nicer than what the other people have, which is straight, like they're naked and green. This guy, first of all, what color could his suit be? Something that pops against orange would be like blue, if I remember my color wheel correctly. So let's try that blue, and maybe uh, have his suit go like that, and then down. And is this the same Y value? 14, 14. Okay. Down like that. Then down. Okay. We could fill this in. And then maybe put some buttons. Which we could just do black for those. So a button. No, no, no. Oops. A button there and a button there. Maybe here would be like the places where the buttons button into. Let's give him a little tie, which could be like a little triangle right here, which then goes into, I don't want to use yellow because it's for limbs. So let's pick a new color. What pops against blue? I guess it would be orange, but we don't want two oranges there. Maybe red. Yeah, to give this guy sort of a striking appearance. Oh, it's not symmetric. Okay. Let's just bring his jacket over a bit. And let's make these go that way. Okay, so there's a tie, and now we need something to sort of outline this so that it doesn't look so weird. Um, hmm. Purple? Make them sort of like a bit out there. Oops. I think the purple clashes pretty badly against the red, if I'm being honest. Um, the purple does look fine though, so maybe I want to change the red tie to a different color. Maybe yellow would be fine, actually. Yeah, because that goes against the purple really well. And maybe we give him... Well, let's give him green skin. He's the same race as everyone. Okay. And let's give him the same orange sort of eyes that everyone has. Those look way too big. They should look more devious somehow. Hmm. Okay, that's not devious, but it sort of is its own unique personality for now. We can always change that later. This is just to get things rolling. Does he have a mouth of some sort? Hmm. Let's give him a mouth here. Yeah, okay. That kind of works for me. Let's give him some legs, just like everyone else has. Uh, and maybe some shoes as well. Okay. Um, yeah, so what kind of shoes? Is black too much? With like a little white spot as a reflection? to show they've been shined. I think that looks kind of fine. I think the shoes are too nice for what he's wearing, though. They should be more colorful. So let's just see if purple looks okay. You know what? It kind of does. Um, yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. That actually looks fine. So now we have our four different characters. So let's go ahead and export this. I do hate that I have to do this as a sprite sheet and not as four individual images. I wonder if that's actually true. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. But come on, Windows. You think I want... What's... No, I want the downloads folder. Why this downloads folder? That's not at all... Windows is getting worse every day I use it. It's horrible. Four characters.png. Okay. Whatever. So let's leave that be, and let's go ahead and create a new project in Godot. Sure. Okay. So I guess the first thing I want to do is if we have these sprites the way we've just designed them, like this. So we have this sprite, but it sort of has four different images it goes through. We're just sort of begging for a world of hurt because if I ever want to animate this, for example, I will need animations in the same sprite sheet, and then we'll have like off by one errors where this guy turns into the triangle guy, or the triangle guy turns into the mayor. So I don't want actually all four sprites in one texture, even though I just saved them that way. Remember, I saved them that way because I wanted to keep a palette because the Piscal app I was using, at least it was not obvious how to save a palette, or maybe it was, but I'm just dumb. So I'm going to go ahead and separate these out before going any further. And so the way I'm going to do this is just by using the select tool. Okay. That's going to be much better. So now we go back to Godot. Let's go ahead and get rid of this resource. And while we're at it, sure, yeah, when I type desktop. See, Windows is just horrible now. I want the desktop. I don't want to search the web for desktop. I don't, I mean, GitHub desktop's fine, but I just want my desktop, like, as a file folder. I really should have just flashed this over to Linux before making this video. This is just really, really annoying. I know I sound like a negative Nancy, and I guess I kind of am when it comes to using Windows, because it's a giant pain and does not need to be. There's no reason for it to be. Okay, so I'll just go to some other file that I've opened. Go to desktop there. Okay. Go into Godot projects. Go into Soylent Power. And here, I'm going to create an assets folder. And inside there, I plan on having some graphics, but also some music and sound effects. So let's make a graphics folder. And in here, I'm going to put my four characters that we've just made. You see, Godot has already updated that, so we have access to this in the file system. So now, we can make a sprite which is dude1 with the dude1 texture. We can make a sprite that is the mayor, which has the mayor texture. And we can sort of move them around the screen. Okay. I don't want to get too crazy with this. I want to work on this very incrementally. And so let's just call this game. Let's save it as a scene. And then let's play the scene. And there you go. We have our two sprites just sitting there on the screen. They do look kind of small, if I'm being honest, but I imagine what we can do is keep this relative size compared to the window and then stretch the window bigger so they look bigger. So let's go ahead into project settings. I probably should have done this earlier and change the mode so that we can I think we're gonna use the viewport and allow it to stretch, I want to say. I'm always confused by these and I always have to put extra thought in. That appears to do the job. I don't like that we have the black bars on top and bottom, so I may have to fix that up a bit later, but at least now this stretches and at full screen these guys look a bit bigger. Okay. If you excuse me, I'm gonna go take a break now. Be back later. Alright, I'm back. Let's see, some things we should do right away. First of all, these pixel art images are a bit blurred. I seem to recall this having to do something with rendering textures nearest. Yes. Alright, now they're a bit sharper. Yeah. Okay. Is this blue showing the end of the render screen? Let's try and just get a handle on what we're doing before we get too crazy with it. Let's put you over here. Where's that blue? I don't know if you guys can see that there, but there's this blue border here. Oh, zooming in doesn't make it any larger. So hopefully you can see that. If not, well, I apologize. But I think this should be the right of the screen. And let's actually just do the whole thing. Let's make it bottom right. Okay. Let's see if this is working the way it should. And it is. Let's go ahead and make our dude move. Do I want to be just a regular node 2D and then have areas and such? Or do I want it to be like an area? No, he'll have an area. He'll be a node. So this will be a dude type. It'll have a sprite. Let's make him his own scene before I get too crazy with it. Yeah, let's just call them dudes. So one thing to be really careful about with scenes is you should center the transforms to 0. Okay, so let me back up a bit. What is a scene versus what is a script? Right? This was a big source of confusion for me when I was getting used to this engine. Is that some things we just give them scripts. So for example, I'm going to give this a script. I'm going to call it dude.gd. This is going to control his movement and his interaction with objects and so on. But one thing I can do here is it class name? Yes, dude. Okay. So now I can instantiate nodes of this type. So if I go here and try to instantiate a node, there is a dude type node, right? But there's also a dude type scene. You see? And this was a huge source of confusion for me. What's the difference between these two? There's actually a huge difference. Okay? A dude type node is just an ordinary node that comes with the script that we've attached. So whatever behavior we've put here, let's say on ready, he prints, hey there, I'm a dude. Okay. Each one of these has that script attached, and so we will have three print statements. Hey there, I'm a dude. When we play this, see there, 1, 2, 3. Okay, but the scenes not only have the script, they also have all the children. So the dude's scene actually has a child, which is a sprite. Okay. Um, Whereas these don't. So let me go to the two-dimensional view. Where is dude 2? Let's give him a transform. Let's put him at position 100, 100. And let's put dude 3 at position 200, 200. Okay, and notice what's going on. Dude is our original scene that we already saved. Okay, dude 2 is this thing here, which is a node, but does not have the children node because this is not the scene. This is the object that has a script. And I know I'm talking in circles here, but this is not a scene, so it does not have any of the children of this node. It just has this node itself. And dude 3, of course, was the scene that we brought in from here. And so since the scene, it has all the children, so it has its own version of that sprite. Okay, let's go ahead and delete those now. I don't need them. And okay, so this is one reason scenes are important. Back to what I was talking about before we started this whole discussion is why do we want to zero out the position and stuff here? Well, it's because if this had some offset and then I wanted to place this scene somewhere, let's say I want to place it up here towards the top, what's going to happen when we render this? Well, the dude's scene is here, okay? But that just means that the scene is here. Inside of the scene, its origin is here, and then the sprite is down there. So what we're going to get is actually, the sprite is not going to be here, it's going to be down here. You see that? We basically want, if we want things to appear the way they should, like this dude is going to be wherever we leave him, we need the 0. Oh, what did I just do there? Oh, yes, that's him. Oh, that's interesting that the editor actually made that offset visible for me. But anyhow, we want the 0 of the scene to correspond with where all the objects in the scene are. Right, and so the easy way to do that is just, let's zero this out. Okay. There's other reasons, like when it comes to the script and like world coordinates versus local coordinates and so on, things get very confusing if you have offsets everywhere. And so it's best just to not have offsets inside your scenes. And then you can put these things wherever and they'll end up where they should. See? Okay, so back to the script now. I don't need him to say, hey there, I'm a dude. So I guess we'll just pass for now. What I want to do is sort of have the guy warble around. So I want him to sort of rotate left and right a few degrees. And we can actually set the rotation for a node 2D, which this inherits from. So let's just make the rotation 1.0. I always forget if it's radians or degrees, so. Okay, you see that? It might be a little small. Let's also just do the scale bigger. Scale equals to scale dot x equals 3.0. Scale dot y equals 3.0. Just to make him a little bit bigger. Okay, and let's also put him a bit to the right, just so we can see this easier. So we're blowing him up by a factor of 3, but also we're rotating him a little bit. Okay, good. So that's definitely more than 1 degree, right? So this is in radians. Okay, now what I want to do is not rotate him some fixed amount, but rotate him every frame. So let's create a var called elapsed time. It's the float. Every frame that we process, we are fed the delta, which is the amount of time that's elapsed since the last time we called process. This is done for various physics reasons. But anyway, the previous frame may have been like 0.16 milliseconds ago, or it may have been like zero point 0.2 milliseconds ago, or 0.15 milliseconds ago. It's not constant. It depends on how much processing we do each frame, and also like various environmental factors like how much context switching the CPU is doing and whatnot. So we are fed a delta every time we process a frame, and what I want to do is just increment the elapsed time by that delta so that it keeps a true count of the amount of time that this thing has existed. So if I print the elapsed time, what we're going to get is roughly 60 times per second. We're going to get a counter that just goes up. Okay, you see that? Okay, so this is just a counter that tells us how much time has elapsed. And now that I have that, what I can do is have the rotation vary with time. So let's make it sine of the elapsed time. So it will have as its extreme values -1 and 1, but it will continuously vary between them. And you see our guy is warbling here. Yeah, the sine wave is a little bit soft at its endpoints because the derivative is 0 there. So it sort of stays there a bit too long for my liking, but also it goes a bit too far in terms of rotation. So let's make it like 0.3 times that. Okay, now it's just a bit too slow. So let's make this, let's set up a frequency of our wobble frequency. Let's make it 1 for now. Because I want to have this mean the same thing that frequency usually means, so I'm going to multiply by pi. Pi or 2 pi? This will already be pretty quick. Right, every second we're going through the full 2 pi. So every second we're wobbling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's actually not bad. Let's also make that 0.3 a variable. Our wobble intensity. And maybe 0.3 was a bit too much. Let's make it 0.2. And let's use wobble intensity there. I don't need the comment about radians because the 2 pi in here should tell me that I'm talking radians. Yeah, that actually doesn't look too bad. I might even go down to 0.15. And actually, what was the way to get this into the inspector view? Was it export, maybe? Yes. So I wonder if I can slide this while the game is going so I can hone it in a bit. Ah, this would be a good reason to have it on a separate screen, I guess. Let me first see if this does what I want. Yes, so it does what I want. And so what I'll have to do here is sort of show both in the same screen. So if I set it at 0, it stops the whole thing. If I set it at 0.3, it goes like that. If I set it at 1.0, right? I want a slider here, though. I think you have to give it like a range. Ah, at export range of, let's say, 0.0. to 1.0 with a step size of 0.01. Okay. Ah, look at that. Okay, sweet. Now, elapsed time is a variable that we're actually going to use here. Like in our math, but the wobble intensity and the wobble frequency are variables that we want to set. Let me put this a different way. We're never going to set the elapsed time, right? That's going to be incremented by the process itself. We're going to set these values, and so I actually want to put them up here. Not that these should always go up top, but you should have some sort of convention, whether it's the convention everyone else uses or just your own convention. You should have some way of organizing mentally where things go so that uh, you don't end up confusing yourself in the future. So let's make wobble frequency. This can go anywhere from 0 up to, I don't see us going past 3 back and forth per second. And let's give it a 0.1. All right, so now we can sort of okay, I don't like that. Yes, I choose that value. Now let me get the slider back, please. Okay, that's a bit janky. That's a bit janky. Oh, notice every time that I slide this, it gets a little weird for half a second, right? And the reason is because we we're jumping from one sine curve to another one, and there's a discontinuity there. We're not staying on the same sine curve and just changing the frequency. Like our elapsed time is not making up for the fact that we have just changed this number, and so we get a little bit of weirdness, but it soon uh, evens out. Yeah, 0.8 seems kind of chill, not too busy. Intensity, sure, 0.16 is kind of chill. I wonder if we can actually have these set the default values. I don't want to get too into the weeds there, so let's just make the default 0.8 because we just found that that's fine. And 0.15 is close enough to 0.16. So let's go ahead and reset this and see what we're looking at. All right, set you back to normal. Let's see. Okay, that's not bad. Now, what I want to do is give this guy a move function. Move to location of some target location, vector 2. Will it be integers? I'm not sure. And for now, we'll just print, hey, I'd love to move to location and the target location. Okay. And what I want to do is whenever there's a mouse click, I want to have my guy try to move there. Okay. So there's a way to do this in process which uses the inputs event. I always have trouble remembering how to do this. There's a callback that every node has, which is like func inputs of event, print of event. Let's just do this for now and try to catch a mouse click. Okay, so we caught some mouse clicks. We also caught some mouse movements. Button index 1 pressed. Okay. If event dot button index is equal to 1, then print the event. I just want to see if this catches the mouse clicks. Okay, the event dot input event mouse. Okay. If event dot, oh, it's not event. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Okay, okay, sure. That was one way, but I want to do it in process. Okay, okay. Right. Yes. Okay, so this is another piece of how Godot works that I always forget what the syntax is, but the mental model is nice here. Input is actually a singleton, so it's a global. And so we can always query this global for its state. So in process, which will play 60 times per second, we will ask 60 times per second the input global whether the mouse button is pressed. And if so, we will print, hey man, the mouse is pressed. Oh, we need to specify which button we care about. I hate this. It's gonna complain at me because I haven't stopped playing even though it crashed. Godot's a little janky at times. Boom. Okay. It's not debounce. I clicked 3 times and got like 16 messages. Do they have a mouse button just pressed? Let's see if that works. Sure, there is no mouse button just. Sure. Anyhow, this is how you would do this inside a process, but note that we're going to run this 60 times per second, and that's going to be for every single object that inherits the script. So if we have like 100 dudes running around, then we're going to have, what, 60 times 100, so it's 6,000 checks per second, which may not sound like a lot really, except the way we actually run this is Godot keeps a scene tree and it goes through the tree, and for the process portion of a frame, it goes through every object in the scene tree and runs its process function. And because of this, we may lose cache locality for instruction locality in the cache. So if every frame on some of the nodes we're checking the mouse, you know, blah blah blah, and then in other nodes we're checking other stuff. So other nodes we're checking if something else dot blah blah blah, then we're going to be bringing these instructions into the cache and then evicting them from the cache and bringing these instructions in. And then when we get back to another node that has this, we're going to evict this from the cache and bring these instructions in. And so we're going to have a lot of thrashing there. Okay. And it's just really not worth it to give yourself a lot of badly optimized code when it's just as easy to not do so, is my main point. And so I will be able to do this in a similar way. I always have to look up the syntax, but I understand what's actually happening. Just, okay. Right. So here, there's an input callback, which is your call. I was just trying to do actually, and I forgot how to do it. If event is, okay, this was my problem, is input event mouse button. Okay. So first of all, let's just print the event. Okay. So that you can get an idea. Again, I tried to save the scene while I don't like this feature of Godot that if you have a project open and you hit save, it complains at you. It's like, come on, you know what I'm trying to do, so just do it. No one has ever liked that feature, I'm pretty sure. Anyhow, if event is input event mouse button, so let's do this. Let's give it an input event mouse button. Click. I just did a left click, and so what I want to do is grab left clicks only. In fact, let's do a left click, then a right click, and a middle click even. So you see left was 1, right was 2, middle was 3. So what I want is only the left clicks. If event.buttonIndex is 1, in fact, I don't like 1 there because that is just an implementation detail of the mouse button enumeration. Okay. Is the enumeration different? There we go. So I want to say mouse button left is just the number 1, but that's subject to change underneath from under us. And so if we use the literal 1, we run the chance of introducing a bug later. But if we use mouse button left and then they change the enumeration, so this is no longer the first or second element, whichever, if the indexing starts at 0 or 1, this number will change along with whatever the definition of the enumeration is, and so we'll be fine. Okay, left clicks, but right clicks and middle clicks do not trigger any text to be printed. Now, there is one more thing. When we press, there is 2 phases, right? Mouse button down, then mouse button back up. We want to detect when the mouse button is pressed. Okay, so now when I click, I should just get 1, yes, just 1 event. And notice now the position changes based on where I click. That always happened, but now we're noticing that, is what I'm trying to say. Print of event dot position. Okay. And what I want to do now is just do move to location of event.position. Now this won't actually move because our move to location just does a print statement, but I want to make sure we're plugging things in correctly. And it says, hey, I'd love to move to location, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, I'm just now noticing, maybe not everyone is used to this, so just for your information, in game coordinates, screen coordinates, x goes from left to right, up to down. So x coordinate here is 6, x coordinate here is like 1,000. But the y actually goes from top to bottom. So up here we have a y value of 17, and down here the y value is 600 and something. And I think this is a historical thing where on old school monitors, in fact probably on new ones as well, you would start printing the screen from the top left corner and go across and then do the next row and then the next row. And so the 0th Y position was up here and not down here. And so we just sort of still use that, probably because it would be too much trouble to change and not enough benefit to change it. But this is a little bit problematic sometimes just because it's confusing, because in math class, if you draw an XY axis, Y usually goes up when you go up, but now Y goes up when you go down. Anyhow, not important. Finally, I'd like to get movement going. So when I say, hey, I'd like to move to location so-and-so, what I want to do is actually make that movement happen. And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to have a variable called target location, which is a vector2. In fact, it's a vector2i, if we're being honest here. Let's just make sure this compiles and runs. Yes. Okay. The I stands for integer. So what we're going to do here is in move to location, we're going to say target location is equal. Oh, I don't like the shadowing I'm doing here. Let's put an underscore there. Okay, so our class variable is given the value that we feed in. Okay, and then inside process, what we're going to do is just constantly query every frame. Do we have a target location? And if so, right now, let's not do continuous movement. Let's just do straight up movement. Let's try that. Okay. So you see how that works? Now, of course, I don't want to just set the position equal to target location because that looks horrible. Instead, what I want is up here another variable, which is the speed. And I'm not sure what range this should take. I think speed should be in the same order of magnitude as the coordinate system, because I think it's just like the number of pixels per second. So let's make it go from 0 to 1,000 with increments of 1, of 10, let's say. Var, let's call this walk speed. And for now, let's make it 100. Okay, what we're going to do now is whenever we have a target location, what we're going to do is come up with a vector that points from where we are to the target location. So this will be our walk direction. And this will be the target location minus our current position. Okay. It doesn't want us combining vector 2i's with vector 2's, and I guess position, even though it always appears to be a vector 2y, it I guess is stored as a vector 2. So let's just not do 2i. This usually happens when I try to be too restrictive with my typing. Typing referring to setting types, not actually pressing keys on the keyboard. Okay, so we set a walk direction. And now what I want to do is have our position change in the direction of our walk direction. So something like that. But I want to take our speed into account. So let's have the walk speed multiply by that. Okay. I think this should probably work. Huh. What happened there? First of all, why is he saying he wants to move to location 0, 0 all of a sudden? Okay, let's print the event position, and let's print the target location as well. Okay. So we are getting a good position, and we're receiving a good position. Ah, we're printing the wrong thing. Okay, that's an easy fix. Okay, I'd like to move there. Maybe the walk speed was too much. Let's get rid of that for now. Oh yes, it was too much because I forgot the delta. Okay. That's still way too fast. So I see what's happening. I don't know if you can catch this with the frames, but we're going way too far, way past our desired position. And that's because we are going too far in the direction of that position. And then once we go past that, well, we still want to go to the position we clicked at, so we sort of correct in the backwards direction. And then we surpass it again, so we go back and forth. And only by luck do we actually end up there, actually. That didn't need to happen. But the issue here, of course, is that our walk direction is not a direction yet, because I have not normalized it. In fact, I could have just not normalized it. Is that a function, maybe? Yes. There we go. Okay. And now we see that that walk speed is actually not good enough to make it look very good. So let's go ahead and change the walk speed and see what we can... 360 is nice. It's a little bit fast. Also, it does this thing here where it jitters back and forth when it arrives, and that's because it's probably jumping slightly over and then back, then over, then back. And so we need a way to say we've gotten there. If, let's say, position, sorry, I should subtract the same way. Target location minus position dot abs, I want to say. This is going to be the magnitude. If this number is small enough, less than, let's say, 3, so within 3 pixels or so, then let's reset the target location to null. And that way we stop updating in that direction. Vector 2, so absolute is not the thing. Dot. Is it a norm? No. How about just distance? No, there's no distance function. Okay, so what does a vector have? Oh, okay, vectors have distance too. Okay, so if position dot distance 2 target location is less than 3, then set target location to null. And here, again with the strict typing, this is annoying. Because will this make it want to go to 0 then? Oh, good. Okay. Right. So I guess I should have just checked that. If target location print target location, else print, it should be 0. I'm just satisfying curiosity here. Okay, it should be 0. So when it's 0, the Boolean check fails. We move a bit. Yes. Okay. I'm not sure I love that because usually a Boolean check on an object like a vector should be checking whether it exists or not, but it's not an algebraic type, so I think it's okay. Anyhow, this does what we want. Let's just make sure we get rid of the jitter. So we go over there. There's no jitter because we get close enough. And let's just say print, we got close enough. Now we are done moving. So this should only print once, because once we print this, the vector is 0, and so we no longer are in this block until next time we click somewhere. Cool. In fact, just out of curiosity, we got to... I want to see if we actually get to the target location or if we just get close to it. Yeah, okay. This tells me about the vector 2i thing as well. So the position actually is a vector of floats, and we never quite get exactly there. Okay, that's making more sense now. Okay. So now we have a way to send our dude to a place. Also, let's have the scale be an export range thing. I don't want it to ever be smaller than 0.1. And let's say 5.0 is as big as it can get. And let's have it go in increments of 0.1. And let's make this... I don't want to use the same word as scale, so let's make it size scale. And let's make it 3.0 by default now, but later it'll be 1. What am I doing? There we go. So now we can change the size scale at will. I'm starting to think the scale 1 might be too small, but when we full screen this is the real question. And keep in mind, we're going to have a lot of these guys walking around. So actually, this scale looks fine. Rotation was kind of funny with the pixel art. That's just going to have to be a quirk of the game that maybe adds to its atmosphere. Okay. Anyhow, so we have a dude. And he has a sprite texture. But remember, we have other sprites than just that one. So I would like a way to randomly get sprites randomly determine or randomly choose a sprite texture when we build the dude. Okay, because you can imagine we'll be instantiating lots of dudes and ultimately killing lots of dudes. So how do we want to do this? Godot, one of my biggest gripes with this engine is that it's really silly about not allowing you to pass parameters to a constructor. So in some other code, so this will be this will be elsewhere in the code base. We want to generate dudes, and what we might do is var new dude is equal to dude.new, or var new dude is dude scene.instantiate if we're instantiating scenes, which is more likely. Okay, but no matter which version we use, we're not allowed to pass in variables here like first kind of dude or second kind of dude, which is really inconvenient because this means we have to set up another script somewhere. We'll have a script somewhere called dude factory, and it will have some function like create dude of type dude type, which will be some dude type that we set up in that same place or even potentially somewhere else. And then when we want to create dudes in our generator script, we'll do like my dude factory, which we then have to have in memory somewhere, dot create dude uh, of type, and so on. And it's just sort of annoying to have to do all this. One thing we could do though is, I really don't care here yet about distinguishing different types of dudes. Uh, like for example, there will be some that do construction, and there will be some that have other jobs in the game. But I don't think they need to look different. At least not yet. I could put hats in later or something. But if they don't have to look different, then what I can do is just when we are instantiating the dude, we can pass a random sprite to our sprite. And so what I want to do is, how do we... Okay. So we can have an onReady var. And what we can do, so this is a sprite 2D, right? So, okay. What we can do is during ready, we can say, I think we have to bring these guys in as well. I don't know why I only brought the 2 in. Okay. I also don't like that that's uppercase and those are lowercase, but I can fix that off camera. Okay. What we can do is create a random integer within the range from 0 to 2. I forget if this is inclusive, so let's actually print the integer. And I'll make this prettier later, but we can do if random integer is 0, then make dude1 dot what is that property called? Texture be dude1. There's probably a mismatch between types there. If random integer is 1, I hate that these are off by 1 now. So dude1 dot texture is equal to dude2 if random integer is 2, dude1 dot texture is equal to dude3. I'm not sure if a preloaded asset can be immediately used as a texture, but we'll see. Let's try that out. Okay, our random number was 0, and so we got the original dude. Not very interesting. There we go. Sweet. Our random integer was 1, and we got a different looking dude. Cool. Alright, I am now realizing that I am never going to finish this game jam if I narrate the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this video and post it on YouTube. And I'm just looking for your honest feedback. If you enjoy this sort of video and want to see more like it, then I'm happy to make more like this. But if this just seems like a bit too much talking and not enough action, I'd be happy to know that as well, and I could get back to other content. But yeah, without anyone explicitly saying, yes, we like this sort of content, I'm not going to do it because it just takes a little bit too long, and I have a deadline for this game jam. So, with that said, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.